I opened my front door on a quiet Saturday morning, expecting nothing more than to pick up my coffee and savor the soft symphony of birdsong. But instead of calm, I was hit with the thick, savory scent of carne asada, grilled onions, and a burst of cilantro so potent it felt like a slap across the face. For a second, I thought I'd stumbled into a catering truck. Then I saw it. My driveway had been hijacked. Not just blocked or inconvenienced. Completely transformed. 3 long folding tables stretched across the concrete, draped with vibrant plastic cloths and groaning under the weight of aluminum trays filled with tacos, enchiladas, rice, beans, and salsa in every shade imaginable. A portable sound system buzzed faintly with mariachi music. Bright tissue paper decorations flapped from string lines hung from my gutter. Someone even had the nerve to plug the speaker into my outdoor outlet. And in the center of it all, directing people like some clipboard-wielding social general, stood Meredith. Hair teased into a suburban crown, pearls resting just below her collarbone, pastel blazer, and yes, clipboard in hand. She looked like she was organizing the Met Gala, not a makeshift brunch on my front yard. She spotted me, standing there in stunned silence, and walked over like she owned the earth beneath her heels. "Oh good, you're up," she chirped, brushing past me without pause. "Just want to let you know we started setting up a little early to keep the food warm. Hope that's all right." I blinked at her, lips parted, words caught somewhere between outrage and confusion. "It's for the spring social kickoff brunch," she added cheerfully. "You know, community bonding? The HOA approved it last week. Don't worry, we'll be done by 2. Behind her, guests were already arriving, waving at me like this was their cousin's wedding. One guy in cargo shorts and flip-flops held a red Solo cup, already sipping what I strongly suspected was a margarita, and it was barely 9 a.m. I took a breath, searched for reason, and asked, "Why is this happening on my property?" Meredith gave me a blank, almost hurt look. "Oh, well, your driveway has the best sunlight for photos, and it's the widest. Plus, your house has a really neutral aesthetic that won't clash with the decorations in the Instagram shots." She said that like I should be grateful. I looked behind her at the growing line of people stepping through my flower beds, stomping over the solar lights I installed last month. "Meredith," I said evenly, "you can't do this. This is trespassing. You didn't ask me, and I never gave you permission." She gave a short, patronizing laugh. "Oh, come on, Evan. Don't be that guy. We're all neighbors here. Try to be a team player, okay?" That line, "try to be a team player," lit a fuse under my skin. This woman had colonized my concrete and was now telling me I was the problem. Before I could respond, her friend Lynette waltzed up and handed me a paper plate full of tacos, as if bribery through carnitas would somehow make this invasion acceptable. "Just eat with us," she said brightly. "No need to make a scene." I didn't take the plate. Instead, I turned and went back inside, shut the door, and locked it. Through the blinds, I watched as my driveway space continued its transformation into a 5-star brunch experience I never asked for. I felt cornered, disrespected, dismissed. And that's when I saw them. Out in the backyard, waddling peacefully by the garden, were my 5 ducks, Sir Quackmore, Peaches, Turbo, Muffin, and Rocket. I had rescued them last summer from a failed backyard petting zoo. They were chaotic, loud, and smarter than half the HOA board. They followed me around, came when I called, and had a particular hatred for cilantro after an unfortunate salad incident. And suddenly, I knew exactly what to do. Karen had the upper hand for now, but I had something she didn't. 5 tiny agents of chaos with webbed feet and nothing to lose. I opened the back gate slowly and whispered, "Go get it." Sir Quackmore led the charge, chest puffed out like a knight in battle. They waddled in formation, driven by the irresistible scent of salsa and rice wafting from the buffet. They reached the tables unnoticed at first, but when Muffin leapt onto a tray of beans, everything changed. The chaos was swift and merciless. Peaches dove headfirst into the rice. Rocket took a flying leap onto the folding table, flapping wildly and sending Meredith's floral centerpiece sailing into the air. Guests screamed. People jumped back. Lynette yelled, "What is happening?" in a pitch that cracked glass. Sir Quackmore zeroed in on the cilantro dip and promptly sprayed it across a woman in a sundress. Meredith turned, horror-stricken, just in time to catch Muffin pecking at a cupcake tower. "Ducks," she screeched. "Who brought animals?" She tried to swat them away with a paper plate. Sir Quackmore retaliated with a sharp nip to her ankle, sending her toppling backward into the guacamole. Rocket was chasing a toddler by this point, because the kid was holding a quesadilla. His mom stood back, laughing hysterically and filming the whole scene on her phone. It was pandemonium. People tripped over chairs. Someone dropped a tray of churros, which were promptly devoured by Peaches and Muffin in what could only be described as a sticky feeding frenzy. And Meredith? She was standing there, salsa-soaked and shrieking, pointing a trembling finger at me through the screen door. "You! This is sabotage. You released them." I calmly sipped my lemonade. "They live here. Unlike your taco buffet." Within 10 minutes, animal control had arrived. Meredith was flailing, waving her clipboard, demanding arrests. The officer squinted and asked, "Are those ducks eating tacos?" "Yes," I said flatly. "Yes, they are." Meredith accused me of weaponizing my pets. The officer glanced at her, then at the ducks, now peacefully napping on the driveway. "They're legal pets. You're the one who threw an unauthorized event on his property." Then the HOA president arrived. Alan, usually conflict-averse, took one look at the chaos and muttered, "What the hell happened here?" Meredith launched into her sob story, painting herself as a community hero ambushed by feathered villains. Alan asked one question, "Did you get written approval for this event?" She hesitated, then said, "Well, I told Cheryl." "Official approval, Meredith." She deflated. "Not exactly." Alan sighed. "We'll be reviewing this in an emergency board meeting tonight. Be prepared." She went pale. Later that evening, I handed Alan security footage, photos, and clips from the duck uprising. The community, fueled by group chat memes and viral videos, rallied behind the ducks. By the next morning, Meredith was suspended from all HOA event planning duties and required to reimburse for cleanup. But she wasn't done. 2 days later, I received a cease and desist letter accusing me of releasing wild animals to disrupt a sanctioned community event. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. I had Avami friend and local paralegal review it. She said, "These aren't wild animals. They're pets. And this letter is garbage." Then came the Flyers Meredith's so-called apology potluck. The event wasn't on my property, but she listed my address as the parking zone. Cute. So I let the ducks host their own party in my driveway. Kiddie pool, watermelon, squeaky toys, and a tunnel. It was duck heaven. When guests began to arrive, they were greeted by 5 ducks joyfully flapping through bubbles and pecking at fruit. A few visitors laughed, took photos, and left. Some stayed longer just to enjoy the chaos. Meredith showed up last. She took one look at my ducky daycare, turned red, and snarled, "This is harassment. It's my property. They're my pets. You wouldn't want to provoke them again, would you?" She backed off when Turbo waddled toward her, making warning honks. Her event flopped. A few cupcakes. Half-hearted applause. One viral photo of her alone with a casserole dish and the caption, "Should have asked the ducks first." She retreated again. But the war wasn't over. Soon, I got an email, a proposed HOA amendment to regulate non-traditional animals. It was vague, but the target was clear, my ducks. She wanted them gone through policy. So I fought back. I printed duck photos in tiny costumes. Sir Quackmore as a pirate. Muffin as a superhero. Rocket in a taco outfit. I added testimonials, let ducks live flyer, and a display board for the next HOA meeting. When Meredith stood up to speak, she delivered a polished speech full of lies about animal aggression and HOA harmony. When it was my turn, I rolled out the duck board and hit play on the infamous taco footage. The room erupted in laughter. The vote? 8-1. Her proposal was crushed. The next morning, a tray of watermelon slices appeared on my porch with a note, "For the real heroes of the block." Meredith vanished. The ducks remained. And peace beautiful, waddling peace was restored. Sometimes you don't need a lawsuit or a shouting match to win. Sometimes All you need is ducks.